So we just saw your appearance on Jessie. Tell us, how did you like working on the show?
It was a lot of fun, honestly. The cast is really great. The all of the kids and Debbie and just the whole everybody was really fantastic in the crew. It was one of the smoothest shows. I mean, like everything was just very easy from start to finish. It was fun. It was clean. It was organized, and everybody was really professional. I was shocked to find out. I didn't know that Debbie was the sort of creator of the show. So I think that's pretty awesome. And if I didn't already have enough respect for her, I gained extra from that too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was a blast. It was a good time.
We love Debbie. Everything she does, all of her acting is great. All of her movies,
Yeah.
shows, everything. And
Yeah, she's really got it down. She knows what she's doing. It's she's good to work with.
she does. And we love your episode of Jessie that you were on, and we keep seeing it keeps playing on TV, which is great to see. We love that
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, no, I keep getting a lot of people keep tweeting and things like that saying, "Oh my gosh, I just saw you on," And for me, I only really was thinking about when it airs. Like the re-airs. You usually don't know all the schedule of it, but people just keep saying, "Oh, I saw it today," or my sister or my cousin or my friend saw it, and so I keep getting updates. So that's good. I like that.
Oh, great, great. And then from one prince to the next, you also were on the Fresh Beat Band. Tell us about that.
It's funny. I have never played so much royalty in such a short amount of time.
Uh-huh.
The week before I was on a Nickelodeon show called the Fresh Beat Band. It was the first kind of kids show that I've ever done, and I went straight from doing this movie up in Northern California that was sort of this suspense thriller. My character got really twisted, towards the end of it, and the whole last week was kind of like dark, and you kind of get locked into the character. So when I got the audition to go in for Fresh Beat, I was like, yes. I was like, this is exactly what I need. Something fun and just like carefree and really just, And so I went in and I booked it, and it was a ton of fun. That one was really just straight up a Prince. And then right after that was Jessie, and that was sort of as you saw, it was sort of half of a normal character and then half of a Prince.
Exactly.
So,
And you
yeah.
worked with Erin Sanders. How'd you like
Yeah.
working with her?
No, she was honestly great to work with. She and we talked about on set. There was a couple years ago. There was a pilot that I basically booked, but then they were looking for actually 17 or 18 for the role, and so after we sort of did the contracts and stuff, I was no longer on it. And it turned out it had no title at that point, but it turned out to be the show that she's been on for a while. So it's funny. We were like, we almost worked together a lot.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Very neat. And then you were also on Hawaii Five-0. Tell us about that experience. Have you been to Hawaii
Yeah.
before?
I've been to Hawaii before when I was a kid with my family. I've done a lot of traveling and stuff with music. I've done a lot of European and Southeast Asian and Scandinavia and things like that travel, but I had never really been back to Hawaii. So when I was there, it was actually kind of cool. I had a few days off, which I feel like is really rare normally on shoots, and it was awesome because you're in Hawaii and you film one day and you have 2 days off, or I did, and they gave me SPF 100 because I'm clearly the whitest person in Hawaii. And they were like, don't get any tan, but go have fun. And so it was a blast. And then I obviously filmed again and whatever. So, but that was a lot of fun because I got to work with James Caan, who is a sort of a acting hero of mine, So that was a blast.
I would like to meet him. He's definitely an idol of mine too.
And honestly, he's. I wasn't expecting him to be as intimidating as he sort of comes across on film, but he's pretty intense. Working with him was not that difficult because I had to act kind of scared of him, and he was pretty intimidating. So it wasn't that difficult.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so neat. And then we actually, looking down your resume, you have such impressive shows that you've been on and movies and stuff like that. You also were on Glee and Kenan and Kel. Tell us about those.
Yeah. Glee was a blast. That was another sort of thing where I went in for one of the lead roles for Finn, and it was down to me and Corey, and then Corey obviously got the part, and they basically called me. They were like, we want to get you in the pilot, though. We really want to find something, and it turned out to be, because we were hoping it would be some sort of recurring thing, and so I went in and I did that spot, and it was a blast. Honestly, I filmed for probably 10 days to do what ended up being in the pilot, because they filmed for over a month to do that one spot, but it was a blast. Chris Colfer's actually my next door neighbor now, so we sort of catch up every once in a while, and I see like Mark or whoever from set every once in a while. So it was a great cast to work with, and we got pretty close pretty quick because it was the pilot, So it was good.
Very neat. And then also Kenan and Kel, you worked on that show years
worked
ago?
on Kenan and Kel, yeah. I mean, that was definitely a while ago. I acted first, and then I kind of got into music and toured for a while, and then now I'm back strictly. It's tough to do both when you're touring, so like I'm back to now strictly acting. Yeah, I worked on Kenan and Kel when I lived in Florida, and all that, and Shelby Woo, and like whatever shows there were in Florida at that point, and I mean, to be totally honest, I think even though I never really watched Kenan and Kel that much, for some reason it just wasn't on my list of shows. It was one of the most hysterical things I've ever worked on. They were shockingly funny the entire time. Like, it's tough to keep a straight face for the take because they're making everybody in the whole place laugh So I think that's why they've had such long careers, and like Kenan's obviously on SNL now, and like I think they're both just going to continue to work forever.
Wow. So. Yeah, they had some of the better shows back in the 90s though. I mean, it's so good, and that's why they're bringing them back now.
Yeah,
they are so good.
Yeah, that's true. And sort of those sketch things now, those formats they're starting to bring back more and more of. So I like to see that.
Absolutely. And then also tell us about your music, like you said. Tell us a little bit about Natural for people that didn't know that you were in a band.
Well, Natural was a band. It started. A friend of mine introduced me to this guy that had just moved down from Boston. I think he may have even been her like waiter or something. I forget the exact story, but she came to me and she was like, "Hey, this guy I heard him talking about. He's a songwriter. He's looking for songwriters, and I did like music and musical theater and whatever in Florida at that point, and so she connected us and was like, hey, you should write some songs. So we wrote some songs for like a local female artist, and we kind of went, this is really cool, let's do this again. And then we from that it basically became us going, let's make a band, let's make this happen, this is pretty cool. And then by the end of the summer we were signed, and within a few months after that we were touring. So it was one of those things where it was sort of very quick. It was everything happened. We never the funny thing is we never thought it wasn't going to happen exactly the way it did. But we really started touring. Our first tour was with the Monkees. It was sort of a random singing tour, but it worked out really well because the moms brought their daughters, and we toured for like 6 months all around the U.S. Wow. And then yeah, we went to probably Southeast Asia and Europe shortly thereafter, and just kind of kept going.
Wow, to work with the Monkees straight off the bat like that is just really impressive. That's neat.
It was really it was for us too. We weren't not sure. We were like, that sounds. I mean, we're ready to tour. This is awesome, and we love the Monkees. But we were like, will it work? I mean, they're definitely a different demographic, but it ended up being awesome because, like I said, it was sort of a marriage of the mothers would bring their daughters, and it just was it was a perfect first tour, So it was a blast. It was a blast, yeah. And I still keep in contact with. I mean, unfortunately, Davey just passed away this past week, but I keep in contact. I've been keeping in contact with everybody and their families and everything like that. So.
Oh wow, very neat to hear. And then tell us also, are you writing any new music now by yourself, or are you just focusing on acting?
I'm definitely focusing mainly on acting, and a few other industry things. I've been producing some stuff and things like that too. But as far as music, I think when I first moved out here, I didn't want to be one of those people that were like, oh yeah, I know I did do acting, and I'm still a musician, but I'm back to I didn't want to confuse people, so I sort of stopped doing music cold turkey. But I have been writing. I've been writing for some artists, some some country artists and some European artists, and just whatever. If there's a cool sort of job that comes my way, I still love writing and producing and things like that. But generally, most of my music now is for acting. It'll be like singing on a show like CSI or Glee or whatever.
Mm-hmm. You also did you do a voiceover for The Simpsons as well?
I've done a lot of voiceover stuff. In fact, I don't know if this thing really moves, but I have a booth in here that I do a lot of voiceover stuff. I just 2 days ago finished up an animated movie called Bingo, which is going to be kind of a cool. It's a fish tale. I play this old miser kind of guy, and I did another animated movie called Ronald the Barbarian recently, and it's just voiceover sort of it started out as something I've just always wanted to do. And then during the band, I was able to do it some, for whatever reason it was. And then when I got back out here, I was just like, I know people say it's impossible, but I want to do voiceover. And so I just started doing it. And luckily, I had a lot of equipment from, music and recording and the booth and everything like that. So I started just auditioning from home, got an agent. I just did another audition, so I get to do a lot of stuff from home, which is pretty awesome too. I actually record a lot of commercials and things from here, so it's nice. It's very low key. I like it.
Exactly. You get to pretty much explore everything: music, the voiceovers, acting, which is nice. That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying less and less to limit myself, and I feel like the more fun I'm having, the better everything's going, and yeah, it's been a really good time. I feel very blessed.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite voiceover you've done so far? In a way, there's a commercial I did. It's not even, I don't know if it would be considered my favorite, but I feel the coolest because it's a Nickelodeon SpongeBob, type of commercial there's a SpongeBob movie and it's for Burger King. It's like this marriage of companies, and I got to play two fish. I got cast as one fish, and then I got cast as the other fish, and then I got cast as the narrator. So it was kind of cool for me because normally you just get cast as one of the things, but they cast me sort of individually for all three parts of this commercial, and that was cool. But the coolest thing for me was that it played a lot on Nickelodeon, obviously, and my little nephew Hudson, and my niece Ellie just thought I was the coolest thing in the world because I told them what it was, and then they just saw it randomly, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's my Uncle Ben!" So I think for me that was just kind of exponentially cool because they see me on TV quite a bit more than they hear me. So to them, it's almost extra magical that it was just my voice being this crazy character or whatever. So that was one that was really fun. That is so neat. And how do you like watching yourself or hearing your voice on TV? Do you critique yourself or?
I don't know if it's common or if it's not, but I'm sort of one of those people that I generally don't watch myself that much. I sometimes will, but I'm sort of the belief that once I've done it, for voiceover it's not as big of a deal because I self-direct a lot anyway for a lot of things. But for on camera, a lot of times I'll let that be not, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm a part of that. I did my job, and then after that I have nothing to do with it really. So yeah, I would say I'm kind of a tough critic on myself as far as acting, and so I just don't watch it.
Well, us watching you on TV, you do a fabulous job, I'll tell you that.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
And what TV shows do you find yourself watching on a normal basis?
I should watch more TV. It's one of those things where it's good because I'm really busy, so I don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of TV. But at the same time, it's kind of part of my job to watch TV. So I watch. There's one show. It's not a scripted show, but for some reason I love it. It's called Shark Tank. It's a show where people have ideas, and I think I'm an inventor at heart. As a kid, that's what I wanted to be. And so I just love watching people be like, I made this knick-knack, and I'd like $3 million for it. And, I just love watching their dream come true or whatever it is. So I'm a sucker for that show. And then it's fun because for me, doing shows, I sort of end up watching those shows more and more. So as Hawaii Five-O, I hadn't seen it, And Jessie, when I booked it, there had only been one episode that had aired, the pilot episode at that point. And so, I've been watching that. I sort of try and school myself on shows, especially as I go out for them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's a sort of a roundabout answer, but I Yeah, I watch more and more TV as I can.
Okay. Is there anything you want to be on in particular, like a dream role or maybe even a movie?
Wow. I a specific movie or a specific show?
Yeah, anything just like a dream role that you're like, oh, I really want to do this.
I don't know. I will say CSI New York, the one I just recently did, that was sort of a thing that I had always wanted to do. Play some sort of, at the beginning, I was just sort of this 007 kind of almost esque character, and that's something I had always wanted to do. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would love to do like an animated show where I got to just be like Dan Castellaneta on The Simpsons, just 50 characters, or one of those things. I would love to be on a show where I'm a lead character and then I get to be, because that's the really fun thing about voiceover is you can be. In this last movie I did, I was 4 characters. I was one main character and then I was 3 sort of smaller characters, and it's nobody would ever know, so it's pretty awesome. I would say that's one thing, and then I would say it's more just about like I'd love to work with a million people. The type of project could vary a lot because I like doing comedy, I like doing drama, I like doing dramedy, and or like single camera, multi-camera. Like I really enjoy all of it, which probably is not beneficial to your career because it's better just to be like right down the path. But it's all so fun. So for me, it's probably more about just each project.
True, very true.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to ask you about your Twitter. Tell us how do you like using it?
I created it when I was on set filming a movie called Riddle with Val Kilmer and Bill Sadler and Ryan Malgarini and Dior and whatever. And it was, first off, I saw everybody else tweeting, and I felt a little bit left out. I felt like I had sort of avoided jumping on Twitter for like a long time. And then I just saw them having a lot of fun, and I was like, I want to have fun too. So I sort of joined Twitter, and everybody on set tweeted me. So I am having fun with it, though. It's fun because, sometimes it's just a random thought. You're just something that I would think is funny that maybe nobody else is funny because I'm one of the cheesiest people I know. So a lot of things that I say are probably really cheesy. But that's funny to me.
Do you have a favorite tweet that you've tweeted or that someone's tweeted to you?
Someone has tweeted to me. I would have to say, as far as I've tweeted, I'm a super, like I said, anything really cheesy that comes out that, like I said, probably nobody else laughs at, those are my favorite tweets that I do. But favorite tweet to me, I don't know. There's a girl that just probably 3 or 4 days ago, she started this thing where she's like, I really want to get you on Ellen, and she like tweeted that at me, and then all of a sudden she started like this whole campaign. It's this girl, Jessie from New York or New Jersey, and she's just been like starting this whole thing trying to get Ben on Ellen, and I'm like, and part of the thing is, I made a comment a while back. She was like, I'm going to get you on Ellen. I was like, if you get me on Ellen, I'll write a song about you. And like, I think that's maybe why she's gone crazy about it in a good way. Like, I think it's awesome, and sure, I'd love to be on Ellen. That'd be fun. I saw her a couple days ago right down the street from my house.
Really? So. Wow, I would love to see Ellen.
She was actually, I feel like she looks pretty on TV, but she was like, in person, she was sort of stunning, which I wouldn't have really thought I would ever use that word for Ellen, I thought she was more like friendly girl next door kind of, until I saw her in person, and I was wrong. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would be so cool to be on Ellen. We'd love to see you on there.
Yeah, we'll see. If maybe it'll work.
Yeah, tell her keep that campaign going.
Ben on Ellen hashtag. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that was pretty cool. I thought that was really nice of her to sort of start that.
That is neat. And do you have also someone you like following on Twitter? Anybody in particular?
My friend Brittany, I think she's hysterical. I think her Twitter handle is just Brittany Snow. But I feel like she is one of those people that I'll let you know after. But I think it's just her name is Brittany Snow. But she she's the same way. She has like a very specific sense of humor, and I think she's hysterical. And so she's really fun. And honestly, there's two profiles that are neither Betty White or Will Smith, and I think they're awesome. I still pretend that they are, not that it matters either way. But like Will Smith always does these really inspirational tweets, and it's not Will Smith. And this Betty effing White is what it is. I think it's hysterical because I just picture it being this little old lady. So those two are really funny.
And you wonder who's actually tweeting. Who's the person behind this?
It's one of those things I don't even want to know because I feel like, it's just it's a fan probably somewhere or whatever the situation is. But it's like I choose to just pretend that it's them, because I think it's kind of genius, and I'd rather think it's them than just some random person that I don't know that's pretending to be them, and then maybe it seems a little weird. So.
Oh, why not? It spoils the fun then.
I know.
And they have so many followers too, even though it's not even them. It's like they have so many.
I know. It's true. Yeah, I'm a sucker for inspirational stuff. I think I think Twitter either goes that route for a lot of people, or just saying stupid things that gets you in trouble, like Charlie Sheen type tweets. Those are sort of the two things that are the most interesting to me. It's like American Idol. At the beginning, I like watching the show at the beginning because actually I like watching the terrible people probably than I like watching the really good people.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people, I think it does fade. They just stop watching, as the season progresses.
I don't know what that is. I felt like I was alone, so I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one.
It's true. And then we're going to ask you, we have a couple get to know you questions. So first up, go ahead and tell us something we may not know about you.
Give me a genre. What are you looking for?
Anything, just... Do you have a talent?
I don't have any talents. That's a secret. That's a very well kept secret. I try to tell people I do. Talent. I don't know if anything I do is considered a talent, really. I have fun doing a lot of things. I love beatboxing, even though I'm probably not that great at it. I tell the worst jokes, which I've actually told you, but everybody who knows me knows that. And I'm really good at math.
Okay. That's interesting.
Which is, it's never really served me that well, but I always did, I was always several grades ahead in math, but it never served me as a musician, and it hasn't served me much as an actor, but... so I guess that applies to secret.
And you wonder, why did the teacher say you need to know your math if it doesn't,
I know. Well, there's so many things about school now. I won't even get into it. I'm like, why did I have to know? And for me, I was taking, all these college courses of math when I was in 7th grade, and now I'm like, why was I sweating all of that? Or same thing with I was always worried about getting into AP classes or all these things, and I really not needed a lot of it. So stay in school.
Exactly. I think people should stick to their field they're going in. You know what I mean? Just base it on that.
Well, and one thing, and this is I don't mean to get serious on you, but one thing I do actually recommend to a lot of friends of mine is if there's something you love doing, just sort of start doing it. You seem very young, and it seems like you're doing something very professional, and you're going for it. And I feel like start as soon as some people are like, oh well, as soon as I'm out of high school or as soon as I'm out of college or whatever. Why not when you're 14 start doing it? Why not when you're 11? Why not? You'll be that much further along when you're out of school and can really start doing it full time. I fully recommend just start. That was what I was able to do. Luckily, my parents were very, very, understanding and helpful and supportive. And so that's why I started acting at probably 11. And we lived in San Francisco, and my mom was like, oh, hey, I'll move with you to LA so you can act in LA. And then when we moved we chose Florida. They were very supportive, and I think that was a bonus. But either way, I think everybody should just do it.
Exactly. If you have a dream, just run with it and never give up. That's the thing. If you
Absolutely.
give up, no.
Well, and that's part of it. That's one thing I see in LA a lot too. People will come out for a year, 2 years, even 3 years, and then they bail, and it's you can't necessarily. I mean, sometimes you can pop right off the bat, but most of the time it's sort of building a career, And that's why I say specifically with acting, like, just get started.
Mhm.
Let everybody get to know you in the industry, and then all of a sudden you'll be famous one day, and that's that.
Exactly,
You know?
and it does take some time, definitely. It takes time to build your career, build a resume and work from there.
Yeah, and you just never know. Like I said, it could be the first audition. You never know when the perfect part for you is going to be there. So I think, and we're talking about acting, but that counts for any career. You never know when you're going to meet this person or be in this right place at the right time or whatever.
Exactly. So, very well said. Well said. And then we're going to ask you, do you have a favorite fast food restaurant?
I just had In-N-Out Burger a half hour ago. I just came back from an audition, and so on my way back, I grabbed In-N-Out Burger. So maybe it was a little longer than that, but a little while ago. So I would say favorite fast food would either be In-N-Out, which I actually haven't had in a long time other than today, or Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you Chick-fil-A. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, it's a very sort of like southern or southeast kind of thing, but they just opened one like right down the street from my house, kind of, and now I kind of go too much, probably. So
yeah, being that you're from Florida, you were used to it, though. Everybody in Hollywood is just like, going on a rampage that they didn't have it.
Well, but it's all those Florida people. It was the first day. There was a line. They had two lines. Both lines were filled up, and then the whole street was filled up, and then the whole main street was filled up, and then it went down even bigger street. It looked like the president was, I don't know, like handing out bricks of gold. Like I can't imagine any other thing that would have caused that much of a riot. It's on like Sunset and whatever that is, La Cienega or La Brea, Highland. And so it was insane. And I think it's just I saw a lot of Florida license plates. Wow. I think it's just all the Floridians coming out and being like, Chick-fil-A! So, yeah.
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
And all the restaurants around there were not happy about it. Like, there's a Quiznos across the street, and I talked to them like a week later. He's like, it's this Japanese guy that owns it. He was just like, I don't like fried food. No, I don't like it. And I was like, it's okay. That nobody will be as excited in a month. So
right.
Yeah, don't be there.
Exactly. Chick-fil-A is good though. Really good. Gotta admit that.
I love it. So those waffle fries cannot be beat.
I know. They're very good. I know. How about like McDonald's fries or, do you like those Burger King?
Chick-fil-A across the top. Yeah. Across the board. It's definitely my favorite fries.
And you can order anything off the menu. It's all delicious. I mean, it's all so good.
This is true. Chick-fil-A. It's probably scrolling down at the bottom now. Google has inserted the ad there.
Yep. And then tell us, do you have a celebrity crush?
Ooh. I've always sort of been. It's tough because I feel like it probably would have changed. I'd say, it used to be sort of like a while back. It was Charlize Theron and Angelina Jolie, and those seem so obvious, but they sort of were. But now I'd say, this is terrible. You want to know one of my secrets? I can't remember names for the life of me. I actually consider myself pretty smart, except for names and dates. They just don't stick. I don't know why. Those are the two things that I'm awful with. But I would say, who's the girl? Oh my God. She was on the OC for a little while. She has those cat eyes, and now she's on House. She was only sort of a regular on the last season or whatever on the OC, but she's now on House. I could find out in 2 seconds, but it doesn't matter. I have a couple celebrity crushes, and it's better that I don't know their names because then that's that. But I will say that I saw, like a year ago, I saw Angelina at a red carpet thing, and it was another time where I feel like most people don't look better in person. I just feel like that's something I've realized. Most people sort of almost clean up better on TV a lot of times, but she was just breathtaking. Just like larger than life, better than she's ever looked on camera. And I was just like, oh, all right. Well, if I ever had a celebrity crush, it is now solidified. So
being living in LA though, do you see a lot of celebrities just out and about? Do you come across any?
Yeah. You never can assume where they're going to be. Like, yeah, you can go to like the Ivy if you want to go to where people are looking to be seen, but half the time it's like at a hole-in-the-wall Mexican place. You'll see, like, I couldn't even name all the people I've seen
and also it depends on who, like I just saw Jason Statham 2 days ago at this one Mexican place, and right before he got there, Fabio left. And then, so it's like, you never know who you're going to get, what kind of name or whatever is going to be there, but there's, everywhere, yeah. It's kind of one of those things where you just, like I said, 2 nights ago I saw Ellen, and then last night I went down, it's just there's a restaurant at the end of my street here, and there's also like a corner store where I get soap or whatever, to bring back, and so then I saw Jane Lynch from Glee, and, so it's just like, one of those things where they're just celebs everywhere.
Wow, you've seen some pretty good people, though.
Yeah, they're everywhere. This place is crawling with them.
How about you? Do you get recognized out and about?
It depends. I was at some restaurant just a few days ago, and the waiter was sort of talking about something that didn't make sense, like kind of hinting at something about a show, or is it thinking? No, he was like, I feel like we've met before, and I was like, well, maybe, I don't ever take it as a like, oh, you must have seen me on TV. I really just assume maybe we've met, But then later on, I was getting up to walk, like to wash my. I have this thing where I have to. There's a secret for you. I have to wash my hands before I eat.
Okay.
It's like I'm not really OCD about a lot of things, but I just feel like even if I'm, obviously eating with utensils, I have to wash my hands before. So I was getting up to wash my hands, and the waiter sort of stopped me. He was like, I feel like, were you, and it was actually for Jessie, which is funny because, it's this 20-something, maybe 30-something year old waiter that's like, so I think I saw you on this show, it's this show, it's like a kid's show, I think I saw you, and I was like, do you know what it's called? He was like, yeah, it's just a show called Jessie, and I was like, yeah, that was me, and he was like, oh, cool, good job, So that happens, and then it happens still with the music stuff too, but like the band did well here in the States. Like we had a couple gold records, and we, like I said, toured and had a couple top 10s, but it really was much more overseas. Like it was insanity in like Western Europe and Southeast Asia, and so every once in a while there will be some German person going, natural, whatever, or some Japanese person going like, oh my god, take a picture, like, so it really just depends. I'd say if it's American people, it's generally more about the acting. If it's European or Asian people, it's usually more about the music. So it's it happens. It happens.
Still pretty neat.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome. And then tell us, do you have a prized possession or something you can't live without?
My family.
Your family.
A prized possession. Yeah, it would definitely be. I love them. Love them guys. But prized possession, can't live without. Yeah, I'm a sucker. I sound like a jack of all trades, but I love just taking pictures. So I would say maybe in theory my prized possession would just be my camera. I have a cool SLR camera and a bunch of lenses and things like that. And you can see my sort of crazy stalker-looking lens right there. It's I just didn't have another place to store it, but that's where that's for whatever it happens to be. And it's not really a stalker lens, but it's I have a bunch of just stuff. So I had a lot of fun with photography and videography and things like that. I just had a lot of fun. In fact, I just helped produce this music video for a band that you should check out called New Beat Fund, and it's going to be. They just are sort of starting out a little bit, but they're awesome. And yeah, check out New Beat Fund.
Oh, absolutely.
So the music video, I think they just put a teaser out last night, but the music video should be done this week. So we'll be releasing it, and I'll tweet about it.
Okay, great. We love seeing new bands. Any new bands, that's exciting. So.
Yeah. Well, and actually, it's my old drummer. There's a good connection. My old drummer from Natural has a new band called New Beat Fund.
Okay.
And so that's the connection.
Very neat. Well, we'll have to see that on Twitter and check it out.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And then is there anything else you'd like to tell your fans out there? Any new projects as well to look out for?
There are definitely some, projects coming up. As far as on camera, I just have done a lot of stuff on camera, and those all kind of have been coming out in the past few,
over the past year, but specifically like a lot in the past month or two. And I have a handful of voiceover stuff coming up that you should keep an eye out for. But it's one of those things where I'll have to let you know when they release, because I never know when they're going to. It could be next month. It could be at the end of the year, for all I know. So they don't tell us much until it's time to like go do a red carpet or do some press or whatever. But yeah, I would say, in theory, first off, thank you all very much for everything. I love chatting with you on Facebook and on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So please, if you're not already signed on, it's just Ben Bledsoe on Twitter. And yeah, I'd love to talk to all of you.